Good afternoon, everyone. Today is another installment, if you will, on the journey with Tony. Um, really, today is again another non-scripted uh, talk. I wanted to just go over some of the things that I'm going to be talking about over the next few weeks, months, and maybe years, and on my weight loss journey. Um, how I got to where I am, how I've got to where I was, and what I'm doing to change my own narrative uh, from being just a really big person who I thought when I walked into a room, people were looking at me that he was the man, as opposed to who is this great big fat guy walking in the room thinking he commands respect. Um, and that's kind of how I got to where I am. A little bit more about me is I was at my heaviest 365 pounds. I am down today, August the 3rd. As of 8 o'clock this morning, I'm down to 257 pounds. 257 pounds. It's the lightest I've been in a very, very long time, years, probably 20 years. And I'm tickled to death. I really am. Um, what really got me going was, like I may have said in the past, during my whole process of starting to lose weight once and for all, I was in pain all the time. I'm bone on both knees, arthritic in both knees and both hands. And with that, being bone on bone, I did a trip to Scotland to play golf. I love golf. And I was in pain most of the time, popping Advils and Aleve to walk. But I muscled through it. And speaking with the doctor, or the orthopede was explaining that if I were to lose 30 pounds, he would actually go in and replace one of my knees. From June of last year, I decided to start working on this. All I did was just cutting back on how much I eat, not what I eat. So that was when I started to actually try and fix things. I also went to my doctor, and my doctor at that point basically diagnosed me with type 2 diabetes. My A1C was 8.1. And at that point, I got a little depressed. Got depressed because I thought, okay, my life at this point is I'm stuck on medication, everything else. The doctor prescribed me Manjaro, and that was $1,100 a month. I can afford it, but I can't afford it. So I didn't take the Manjaro. I really doubled down on trying to lose weight. I'm a drinker and a carb eater. Or let me say, I was a drinker and a carb eater. I would drink eat a bag of gummy bears every night. That is not a stretch of imagination. That is what I did most nights: a bag of gummy bears and a family bag, not the little bag. In addition to having a glass of bourbon and or a beer. And that was pretty much every single evening. In July of last year is when I stopped doing that. I cut out a lot of the candy and extra junk, and I cut back on how much I drank. I still drank, and I still ate junk, but not as much as I did. I lose the 30 pounds. I go to my doctor in December. My A1C went from an 8.1 to a 12.5. It's supposed to go down when you lose weight. I had lost 30 pounds. I went from 360 to 365 to 330. I was actually at 320, I believe, when I went to the doctor in December. It's December 9. Go to the doctor. I get the news that my A1C went from an 8.1 to a 12.5. At that point, the doctor is no longer, you need to take Manjaro. You are now on insulin. And I was taking 10 units of insulin every 2 days and had to increase 2 units of insulin every 2 days until my resting A1C, or my resting glucose, was under 120. My resting glucose prior to that was 273. That's after a 14-hour fast. One of the things that my wife had mentioned to me about me, and she's also a nurse and a wound nurse to boot. She had mentioned that, to me about all of the stuff that she's gone over with me about my health and all that. And that was that I research everything, which I do. I love research. But I didn't research my own health. and all of the other threats and everything that may have come out from her, um, that wasn't enough. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough. What was enough for me to actually really start really, truly looking back at myself was I don't research my own health. When I started doing that, I cut out the alcohol. Um, with the exception of December 13, I had a drink at a Christmas party for work. And at that point, I just decided I need to actually fix this. I went and found a few doctors. I found Dr. Boz, Dr. Ann Bosworth. I found Dr. Ken Berry. There's a cardiologist who talks about carnivore diet. All that to say, I did switch to a carnivore diet from the traditional food pyramid. The carnivore diet, what that did for me is I think it fixed, if not everything, it fixed a whole heck of a lot. When I switched to carnivore, I got myself up to 14 units of insulin every day or every night before I went to bed. And once I got on the carnivore diet, I started that on January 9th. By the end of January, I was off insulin. Reason I was off insulin is because I'd switched to all carnivore. I had no more alcohol, no more carbs, zero carbs at that point. I was absolutely zero carbs, no cheese. I did meat, butter, and eggs, and that was it. That's all I ate. And the meat was red meat. I didn't do chicken for the first month. And doing that, my blood glucose levels had dropped so much that the doctor asked me not to take the insulin because I was crashing in the middle of the night. My glucose was dipping down to the high 40s and low 50s. And I would get up, and at that point I would get up and eat a handful of grapes, or if I had a feeling, I'd eat a piece of cheese. Just to try and get it to just slow until I got up. Because I found that if I get up and move, my glucose does go up. But that's what I did for the first 3 to 4 weeks once I started carnivore. After that, I stopped taking the insulin around, February, the first week in February, I stopped taking insulin. And then I stuck with the carnivore diet. I wasn't really working on some of the things. I'd write some notes down here and there. But after that, after I came off of the insulin, the one thing I was tracking is I was pretty diligent about doing my finger pricks every 2 hours. My fingers were getting beat the heck up. I was doing that every 2 hours, and I'd switch a finger every day to a different finger. And once I got that under control, I decided to move to a CGM, which is a glucose monitor, which today is over here on this arm. I absolutely love it. I like data. I will probably never not have a glucose monitor. The good thing is I don't have diabetes and type 2 diabetes anymore. My constant glucose for the last 7 or 8 months since I've been on this carnivore diet has been in the 90s. That's my average, is 92 to 95. I do bottom out sometimes in the 50s, but that's few and far between. Most of the time I'm staying under 100, 90% of the time. I do go to the diabetes educator and the endocrinologist. I believe my next appointment for them won't be until September. And at that point, I was already told that I really don't need to see him, but he just wants me to check in, which I will more than gladly do. I'm just going on with everything that I'm doing. I said what I do on a regular basis, that most days I will have at lunchtime. I don't eat breakfast. I haven't eaten breakfast in years because I'm just busy. And I don't like to slow down, unfortunately. And breakfast for me would normally be some oatmeal or something along those lines, which everything that I'm reading, doing my research, you really should start with a savory breakfast anyway. So that helped me out. But not having breakfast. So most mornings I'll have 2 or 3 cups of coffee up until lunchtime. Lunchtime will usually be, if I don't bring a burger patty or two or some chicken thighs that I've made on the air fryer or the smoker at home. And I'll run to McDonald's, Burger King, or Hardee's. Hardee's right now is kind of my favorite. I'll go to Hardee's. I'll get two or three burger patties. It's usually between $5 and $6. That is daily if I don't bring my lunch. And lunch when I bring it is generally a burger patty or two, some chicken thighs, or maybe some chicken wings that are left over from the weekend. That is my lunch. And then dinner is going to be either soft-boiled eggs. I might have 4 or 5 soft-boiled eggs in a bowl, and I'll put a little pat of Irish butter in the bowl with it while they're still a little warm. Let it melt up, cut them all in half, and eat that. One of the things I noticed that is not really realizing how to eat. Even doing all the research on carnivore, I can eat all the meat I want. You have to eat the amount of meat until you're full. That's a big thing that people that they may fail on. I know for me, for a while there, I was eating too much, and then I realized that I needed to understand when I'm full and stop, not just eat more because it's still on my plate, which is something that I really enjoy now. I can eat what I eat and then stop eating. In the past, I would eat and just continue to eat, even though I know that I'm full. I would still eat. But eating the meals that I eat, it's really, really helped me. I really can't stress it enough. I can't say it enough. How I feel now compared to what I thought I felt in the past. Each morning I wake up, it is literally, and I've said this before and I will continue to say it, not only is it a blessing, but I feel like a kid opening up a Christmas present every morning I wake up. One of those big things for me is one day I'm laying in bed, and I have my hands on my stomach, and I could feel my rib cage. I could literally feel my rib cage. It was something. Those little wins for me they were awesome. I don't like to use the same. I love the word awesome. I don't like to use that word all the time, but it was just awesome for me. Another big win for me throughout this whole journey so far was getting on the airplane, because I fly a lot for work, getting on the airplane and not having to ask for an extender. More importantly, the first time I got on the plane, I asked for an extender, and I didn't need it. I was flabbergasted. I was so happy I called my wife while I was sitting on the plane to tell her that I didn't need to use an extender. That was the first time I've used an extender in a plane in probably 7 to 10 years. Those little wins. I went and sat down in the booth. My wife and I were on vacation for her birthday, and I sat down in the booth, and I could fit. In one of the offices, I sat down at work, and I got up from the chair, and the chair didn't come with me. It's those little wins that people who just aren't big like me, or like some of us who are out there, who don't realize it, and the things that you take for granted that we should take for granted, but at the same time, we do take them for granted. And literally sitting down in a chair that's made for a regular-sized person and getting up and the chair stayed on the floor. Or going to a baseball game and being able to sit back in the little chairs. Whereas in the past, I'd go to a baseball game with work, and I'm sitting on the front of the chair because I can't fit in the chair. These little wins are just so amazing to me. I was at one point size 54 in men's. I'm still a very large person, but my wife would say I'm normal. I'm not normal yet. I'm still working at it. I'm down to a 44 size for men. I'm actually almost out of the big men's store. I do shop at DXL. I love going into the store and trying on something after I know that the clothes are getting too big, and I actually skip a size. That to me was, again, I never thought I'd actually be where I am now. And knowing that I can do it it just makes me feel so good. And I really truly wish that I could just help. I'm doing this because I want to help others. I want to help others who have felt like I felt, and I've hidden behind the alcohol and the food and the excuses of, well, I've tried. You try for 2 weeks, and it didn't work. And I really, really, I'm doing this not to make money. I'm doing this because I want to get the word out that you can do it. I've seen so many people out there. There's a guy out there, I can't remember his name. I will probably tag him later. He started Carnivore when I started to, when I had my come to Jesus moment, if you will, with my marriage. I was ready to give the whole thing away. That's where I was. I just didn't care anymore. I'm glad I decided to care, and I'm glad I decided to make this step. There's nothing better than hearing your wife tell you how proud she is of you. It really isn't. It just isn't. The single most important person on this side of Earth is the one who's the person you're looking for any of that from. From everybody else, it's great, but it doesn't really matter. It's nice to have. It's nice to hear. But from that person, because that's the person out of all you look up to, short of my Lord. That's just it. I really just want everybody to know and fully understand that it can be done. Don't continue to allow yourself to let you fail. I can't say that enough. Don't continue to allow yourself to let you fail. You can't. Yeah, there's so much more for all of us to give to this world. I'm going to start to push. There's quite a few people I've seen out there, and they're showing up in my feeds, women and men and across the globe, basically, who are doing some of the same things I'm doing. I will honestly say this carnivore diet for me is working. It's working like gangbusters. I might show up to a meeting or a dinner, and some people look at me like I'm the weird person, but I really don't care anymore. I was always looked at as the weird person anyway. I've got my coffee here. I put my butter in my coffee. I drink water and my Perrier. It gives me a little something extra as opposed to just drinking plain tap water all the time, which I do a lot of. Staying hydrated. I do take the minerals, the LMNT, just the plain without sugar. I could go on and on. I will continue. I'm going to start on a regular basis posting either Sunday or Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday or Saturday. I'm going to be posting 3 videos a week. I may pop in some shorts here and there. I'm just really, really trying to get this word out for everybody to see and understand. I also have to show you some of the foods that I eat on a regular basis, how I'm preparing them. Again, I eat just meat, eggs, and butter. When I cheat, which we'll get into that, I do cheat from time to time. I was strict my first 4 months. I did not have I had 0 carbs outside of the fruit that I had to eat when my blood sugar went really low. Outside of that, it was meat and eggs. That was it. And then in April, I had a couple of drinks at a leadership retreat. Had a few drinks and some bread and things like that. And the first thing I noticed is the following day is my inflammation came back, and it was just one of those. It was eye-opening to see that the food that I ate brought my inflammation back. My knees were tight. I was kind of hobbling again because I've hobbled a lot. That was my normal. And now I can get up and just go. And we're getting up in an airplane. I gotta pump my knees like it's a bilge pump. I gotta pump my knees 3 or 4 times before I start walking, or I'll fall. Or at least it felt like I would fall. There's all these little wins. I could organize and write it all down, but then it'd be a 6-hour video. Again, I can't stress enough how much I really want everybody to fully understand what a blessing this is and how simple it is. And again, I will say it again, don't let yourself fail yourself. we are our own worst enemy. I don't crave junk anymore. That's another one. I just don't. I love gummy bears. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? I'd eat them by the bagful every night. Twizzlers, Swedish fish, all that junk. Don't need it anymore. I haven't had any of that since literally December. I have had a cinnamon roll when my wife and I were on vacation. But one of the things I've noticed for me is if I do have anything like that on those rare occasions is to eat a protein prior to that. Today I had a little cheat. After church I went to Starbucks and I generally do a nitro coffee, but this time I had a nitro coffee with a strawberry sweet cream. And it was just a little cheat, but it didn't have a protein prior. So I got home and I decided to check my glucose. After all that, and I'm sitting out and watching my YouTube videos out here, which I love being outside on the deck when it's nice and cool like today. And it went as high as 130, which for me is high, but it's still well within normal ranges. And then it came down rather quickly, which is again another blessing that my insulin resistance has come way, way down. There's lots of things I've noticed about myself. My head has gotten smaller. I love hats. A lot of my hats are too big. I've gone from a 4X to a 2 to sometimes 1X in shirt sizes. From a 4X to a 2, sometimes a 1X in shirt sizes. From December to, it's now beginning of August. I'm going to say in my speak, are you kidding me? Are you absolutely flipping kidding me? This is who I am now? The joy I feel from all of the changes that I've made, and I've continued to do those changes. One of my biggest regrets, I wish my father was here to see what I've actually started to do, and I'm doing it. I know people have been worried about me for years because, again, I was well over 300 pounds. Well over 300 pounds. Over 350 for years. I'm only 5'9" tall. I was morbidly obese for the better part of 20 plus years. And I'm being blessed to actually rewrite this story in my life that I am actually doing so much better. When I went to the doctor in March, the doctor was kind of tickled, which really tickled me. And she literally said to me, I can't believe you've done this as quickly as you have. You've reversed or reversing the type 2 diabetes. You've been off insulin. You've added years to your life. That's what the doctor told me. This is, again, just fantastic. I'm gonna end this soon here because I know I'm just rambling. I'm always going to keep it honest and real. That's who I am. I don't have anything else. I don't have time to be fake. Life is too short. One of the things that, as I'm going through my outline that I put together for myself on how I'm going to start posting this so it can get out to more and more people, and that is like and subscribe. And what I will do is, my promise to you is I will go out here and look, and then I will respond to your comments, all of them. I will look daily and respond to the comments on a regular basis. So like and subscribe. I wish you all the best. And remember that you are your own worst enemy, and you only have today. You can't let tomorrow write what you want to do. Tomorrow is gone. You can't change that. You can only change what you're doing right now, and that's where we have to live. You can prepare all you want, but you gotta live today, and that is not live it as it's your only. And that's what I was doing, eating and drinking like it's my only. Well, that got me to where I was, and I can't be that person anymore. God bless. Have a great day. I will talk to you soon.